Okay, so this is David Henning. I'm going to be doing another vlog. I think this might be the second one, or the third one maybe, on Eva and Franco. Um, Project 9? Yeah, Project 9. Alright, out of the gates real good on this one. So anyway, moving right into questions. Do you think that art increases value as it shows its history, such as faded paint, loss of pieces that were stolen, wear, and tear? And do you think art is best appreciated when seen in its original form? And I think this question is kind of tough because I'm not sure if I interpreted it correctly. So I will give an answer for every interpretation that I can. First of all, it says increase in value, which I guess would equivalent like it'd be equal to monetary value. So I'm just gonna say yes for that. Think that something can be shown as like the original. It's not a copy. Then of course there is higher monetary value to it. I don't really, but I think that that's not what you really want the answer, because then the second part says this is best appreciated when seen in its original form, and I think that depends, because I think that a piece of art that has first of all original a piece of art that's original, of course, that has exactly what the artist has put on there, like the mise en scène of exactly what the artist wants you to see, so you can better interpret the artist's message, better interpret the context of that moment, of that immediate, what is trying to be said in that immediate piece. um, but you can also, there's a lot of meaning and a lot to be appreciated in something that does show its history, and that has a is aged, has a life behind it, because you can kind of pick up what how we appreciate it, because if it's well maintained, perhaps it's thousands of years old, but it's well, hundreds of years old, but it's well maintained. uh, Perhaps that concepts that are being spoken in it, or they're being presented in it, are we appreciate them, and not only that, but we've appreciated them throughout human history, for a long span of human history. Whereas some things that maybe haven't lasted that long, maybe we don't appreciate. Maybe the messages the artists were bringing up were not only frowned upon then, maybe they were accepted, but then as time goes by, they are not accepted. So pieces get stolen. Things are, there is wear and tear. So I believe that really, it's a tough question to answer, because I believe that you can actually you can look at what the artist is trying to say and the concepts behind it, but then by looking at the age, you can say what the people's beliefs about those messages. So yeah. Anyway, question number two: what do Eva and Franco think about the concept of the original? It's a simple one. They don't like it. They don't like the idea of putting so much importance on which one's the original and which one's a copy. Essentially, if the copy is made in to be similar, the same, or it's made in the same kind of uh, con, con it's made with the same idea behind it as the original, then it's the same. The message is just as powerful. And for somebody to think that, oh, this is his what he actually made, like if the artist actually made this, to say that that's better is kind of aristocratic. It's kind of up your own ass, to be kind of honest. It's kind of stupid to put emphasis on something, that two things that are exactly the same, and say one that's better, just because of something so simple as the original. Or at least that's their opinion, and I agree with it. Obviously, I kind of gave that away, but I believe that that's what Ivan Franco, that's what they're really trying to bring home. That's their point of view. Three, what was the dark twist behind uh, Darko? Um, I guess some people might say that it was all fake and that he was not a real artist. I would say, actually, my personally, I would say the dark twist is that because people realized that he was not fake, they then almost threw aside his the messages being brought up in the art and concentrated more on the fact that he was fake. Um, and I think that honestly, I think that that's one of the huge reasons that Eva and Franco are so pissed off about this concept of originality is because that mindset, people's mindsets that the original is so important, destroyed all the messages that they worked so hard to present in Darko's um, artwork. And people kind of they feel like, oh well, he's not real, so therefore his art's not real. But that's of course not true. I think that's the real dark twist is that when people were like so amazed at this work, and then when they realized it wasn't real, they felt duped, and they felt well, the messages were just they didn't have the same impact. No matter, even if they were important and should have been considered, they weren't. They were looked over, which sucks. Number four, the what did the flag plaques that Eve and Franco put up? Blah, blah, what do they say about history? Blah blah blah. I believe that they say a lot about what um, is important and how we decide what is important. As just an individual, we can sometimes decide that because this monument is important, that whatever is said about that monument is important, and not take it upon ourselves to make that judgment. For example, just because some government puts a plaque on a building does not mean that that building's any more important than the building directly next to it. Just because people are saying blah blah blah, stating like a little memorial about it doesn't mean it's any more important. And so, and then of course they put up the plaque to show that you can't just be blind and believe it because you don't know where it's really coming from. Like it could be coming from Eva and Frank. And so, yeah, I think that it says you have to challenge your way of thinking about what is and what is important and how and who you listen to and who, if they say something is or isn't important, are they right? Because there's a good chance they could not be. Number five, what are the main themes? Matrix of thematic. What are the main themes of Eva and Franco's exhibition? It's always 6 o'clock. That is, of course, as of course, it's a statement on like the remixing culture. Um, but I also believe that it's sort of saying that it's sort of almost making a comment on what's okay and what is like for example if somebody has a good idea you can't just not you can't just not agree with that because it's not your idea. Like it's almost like a critique on the hipster culture, if I could draw a reference. It's like what it's like just because like oh that's like like that's been done doesn't mean that it's wrong. Doesn't mean that you can't take that and it doesn't mean that you can't make it your own. Just because someone's done this one thing doesn't mean that you have to go out and you have to make up something completely different because honestly like everything's been done. And so if you have a great idea, even if it's only a little bit of a little different than someone else's, if it's building on someone else's, you should still be proud of that idea and that way of thinking, and you should present it, even if it's just remixing, because it is your remix. So I think that that's something that they are trying to bring up. Six, blah blah blah. What do the majors have to say about America and Hollywood and the production of their fake movie United We Stand? I think that um, they're trying to really critique Hollywood because they put a lot of emphasis on an event and anyway they put a lot of emphasis on an event and almost skew that event. Like, of course, we all know that Hollywood has a lot of things that are fake, but I think sometimes I also think that's another thing that the thing they're criticizing about America is I think that sometimes the American culture takes those fake things too seriously. And if we make a documentary about like, oh, like the United we gotta fight back, I think that we might portray we might portray other nations as being truly villainous. We sort of we'll jump to we'll believe what the film is presented, what Hollywood is presented, and not what we as individuals should take in. It's sort of the similar messages that they were presenting earlier. Like you can't just because Hollywood puts a plaque on this and says that they're terrorists and that you're doing the right thing by standing up against them and fighting them. You have to make your own decision because I mean that might not be the truth. Like yeah. Anyway, that's basically what I think it's they're really trying to get at is you have to make your own decisions. You can't just be rallied by well, like a bunch of executives who are trying to just make a buck off of a movie. You have to make your own decisions and yeah, do what you think is right. So I guess that's about all I got. And yeah, I'll end this now and bye.